Hey guys, Th3 here and welcome back to to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Sorry. Welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today we're looking at another scenario by Anzac A1. He was the one who came up with the invasion of Venezia, and this is the sequel to it. Following the Venetian fleet's stunning victory at the Battle of the Venetian Gulf, the victorious Venetian ships, as well as the captured Italian battleship and cruisers, arrive in the port of Trieste and are met with a huge celebration and fanfare from the populace. However, the battle would soon prove to have repercussions that no one could have foreseen. Emboldened by the unexpected Venetian victory, the British decide to hasten their planned attack on the Italian fleet anchored in the port of Taranto. Planned for late September, the attack is intended to consist of 20 Swordfish torpedo bombers as well as 20 Skua dive bombers. The Skuas are armed with special rocket-assisted 500-pound armor-piercing bombs, and the pilots are instructed to aim for the magazines of the Italian battleships, while the Swordfish will target the smaller warships. The results of the attack turn out to be more than the Royal Navy could have ever dreamt of. All 6 Italian battleships suffer catastrophic magazine detonations and are utterly wrecked, while nearly all of the enemy cruisers are also sunk. About half the Swordfish and roughly a quarter of the Skuas are lost during the attack. While Italian naval power now crippled, Italian troops in North Africa suddenly find themselves with no hope for resupply, reinforcements, or evacuation. As a result, they are quickly forced to surrender to British forces, ending the war in North Africa. At the same time, the Venetians have informed Greece about Mussolini's planned invasion of their country. With an attack from the sea now impossible, Greece quickly sends troops to Venice in order to block any potential land invasion. At the same time, both nations declare war on Italy and immediately begin talks with Great Britain. However, with their emergence as allied nations in mainland Europe, both Venice and Greece are all too aware that they now present an immediate threat, one that Hitler is unlikely to ignore for long. Thus, the two nations come up with a plan that is almost unbelievably bold. The plan calls for battlecruiser Real to transport a large commando force up the Italian west coast, and then landing these troops at the port of Ostia, less than 30 kilometers from Rome. The force will then secure transport, with the help of Italian sympathizers, and race to Rome, with the aim of capturing Mussolini and forcing him to declare Italy's surrender. Venetian intelligence has confirmed that many in Italy sympathize with Venice and see no point in continuing the war. This includes most of the population of Ostia, hence its selection as its landing point. In early December, the Real and her battle group depart from Trieste and steam down the Adriatic Sea before making port in Corfu. Here, the Real takes on her special passengers, 300 elite Hellenic troops, who are immediately dubbed the 300 Spartans by her crew. The group departs Corfu and heads west, past Sicily, appearing as if they intended to move into the Atlantic, as Venetian intelligence has leaked false information that the ships are escorting Venetian officials to Britain. As the ship reached the midway point between Sicily and Sardinia, Real breaks away from the formation and heads towards Ostia. However, while still roughly 100 kilometers away from Ostia, the Real receives a report from the British. Their intelligence is reported as a sizable Italian naval force that is headed towards the Real. The force is made up of 2 battleships, 5 heavy cruisers, and 5 light cruisers. However, all ships are World War I era, as they are all that the Italian Navy has left. Mussolini is apparently desperate for victory and has selected the famous Real as his target. While this report is certainly worrying to the Real, it also contains some good news. Mussolini is unaware of Real's true mission. Also, due to their age and hasty reactivation, the Italian ships lack any kind of long-range radio communication. They would need to be within 100 kilometers of Rome in order to send any kind of warning. Despite the seemingly suicidal odds, the Real's captain knows that their mission, if successful, could knock Italy out of the war for good. He announces to the crew that he intends to push forward and asks for their opinions. Unsurprisingly, the crew agrees to keep going. Guns loaded, the Real charges ahead, just as the Italian ships appear over the horizon. The battle has begun. Fantastic backstory by Anzac. It reads like a book. So, Anzac, if you are not yet considering writing either longer stories or short stories, start now, because I think you have a knack for it. The mission is straightforward. Sink all of the Italian warships. I have a tech advantage, because while the Italian Navy lost all of their modern warships, the Real did not. And the Real, as a single battlecruiser, should be more than capable of taking on, as the scenario states, 2 battleships from 1914, 5 heavy cruisers, and 5 light cruisers. So let's throw together a battlecruiser capable of doing this. Let's see. What sort of a ship would I need? The Real already fought, so let's say she has a amount of regular training. And I know that I could go for a recreation of the Real as I had in the previous scenario, but I think it's more interesting to go with a different build. Always go with something new. Now, seeing as the Italians have a knack for speed, let's see if this thing can do... Well, it might be able to do 40 knots. That'd be a very fast battle cruiser. Go for a bit of oil. Put a bit of range on it. Auxiliary engines to help it maneuver. And... yeah, I think this is okay. Going with a balanced rudder gives it even more acceleration. Engine efficiency is going to be critical. And I only have 38.9. We're going to need more. That's 41. And that's 82. It's not stellar, but it'll have to do. Okay then. Let's upgrade the armor to Group 4. A bit of anti-torpedo protection, double hull, all or nothing armor scheme, anti-flood 2, reinforced bulkheads 1. Generation 1 radar, and let's go with stereo 4. I could go with something better, but I think this is sufficient. Okay, when it comes to firepower, what do I want? You know what, the 40 knots might be a bit too excessive. Because I still have to add guns, and I have to upgrade said guns. 14 inchers? Although I do like the look of the 13 inchers, but it's a battle cruiser from 1935. It would probably have 15 inch guns or something similar. I'm considering going with a forward-facing battlecruiser. So something that has potentially 2 turrets on the bow and 1 on the stern. But the issue is I might close the distance too fast. That could cause issues. There, and we're going to put 1 on the stern. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, I'm going to have to reduce speed a little bit, because this is not going to work out very well. Because I still need to get a better loading system. Go for semi-auto loaders, advanced hydraulic turrets. Standard shells are fine. Let's go with 2 powder 3, TNT 3. How many shells do I have? I have 300 shells per gun. That might not be sufficient. Small 0.4 weight offset. There. Oh, barbette armor. May be useful on a battlecruiser. Let's go to 65,000 tons. Giving me 3,000 tons to play around with. Because I still need to add some form of secondary. Is it possible to add a couple of 6 inchers to the side? Yes, possibly. That would be here. These won't turn very well. These will. And then I could even put a couple of 2 inchers on top of those guns. Guns upon guns. Oh, but that makes them too tall for the turret here to fire. Because they still need to rotate and fire over the 6 incher there. Okay, fair enough. In that case, only these are going to get that. I could put this on a barbette and still add another turret. No, not like that. Here. You go back. You go here. I'm going to drag you along. There. Because now I can add potentially another 6 incher. Well, maybe behind it. Like that. Is that tall enough? No, it isn't. Nope. Fortunately not. And this is already the tall superimposed barbette. Maybe the very tall could do it. I wonder. Are you going to work with me, or is that still not enough clearance? It's probably not enough clearance, let alone the fact that you really would not want to be in that gun when it goes off. So consider that you're manning the 2-inch gun on top of the 6-inch turret, and the 15-incher goes off. It's going to be fairly uncomfortable. Something about eardrums and stuff like that. What else can I put on here? 5-incher... Wow, really? That's better than I thought. The thing is, I don't think it'll turn. Yeah, it's not going to do too well. What if I give up the 6-incher here and go for a couple of 5ers? Casemate guns are not possible with the current tower setup. Is it possible to shift this thing forward and get a super tall secondary barbette? And throw another 6 on top? Yes. That's a nice pyramid of guns. Does it turn okay? Yeah, it does. Oh, and because I like, and I heard you like guns, so we got 15, 15, 6, 2. An entire pyramid devoted to firepower. Still 0.3 weight offset. Okay. There it is. There. 0.1. 1. No. Back. There you go. Yeah, that ought to work. There is one little constraint that I haven't mentioned on this mission. I need to complete the objective in 90 minutes of in-game time. I need to be quick. If I'm not fast enough, then the ships are going to be in range. It's like they're returning to Rome. And they will warn of the impending attack. So that means that I'll not be able to pull it off. That's the problem. Oh, those guys were the issue. Okay, fine. So I need to sink all of them inside that time span. That's potentially a bit of a stretch, but I'll just have to try and make it work. Now, there's still the risk of those battleships. Sure, they're not too heavily armed, supposedly. They're probably not very accurate, but nevertheless, I need to consider them as a real threat. So let's go with, let's see, can I get 6.5 on both? No. Yes, I can. After weight offset's pretty bad though. A little bit of tweaking later and the Real is finished. She has a substantial amount of firepower in various different armaments. We have the 9 15-inch guns, we have 16 6-inch guns, and we have 32-inch guns. I don't expect to use the 2s, especially considering light cruisers could be armed with torpedoes, but this is more of a, let's say, an improvised anti-air defense against the non-existent aircraft in this game. Now, let's have the Real start her mission, because we only got 90 minutes. And here we go. There are 2 battleships, 5 heavies and 5 lights. We have found them. Turning circle is more than a kilometer. Fortunately, the turrets are supposedly turning a bit faster than that. And I have been detected. Whoa. We got a proper gun collector here. They're armed with 6 10-inch guns, 8 9-inch guns, a double 2-inch gun, a whole bunch of 4s, 3s, 2s, 6s, and more 2s. That's a bunch of firepower. But it'll be no match for my gun pyramid. With the 15s, the 6 and the 2 on top. Easy. Not to worry. I'm trying to come up with a different way to get a thumbnail of these ships for these vids, but I usually end up going with the guns. Because then again, this is a ship or a game about ships with guns, so... Oh, we already got a hit? A good one at that. At, I think, a heavy cruiser. The Italians must be properly desperate. Wow, another hit. "19 clicks out. I can hit the 24 into 12 with the 6-inch guns. Accuracy's falling as the as the heavy cruiser's turning away. Let's switch to the battleship. Could get loud, be warned. Ricochet. Switch to high explosive. Penetration. Destroy the main gun? Really? Yep. Turret out of commission. Sucks to be you, buddy. But that's what happens if you don't defend your fleet. Ship is on fire. I'm trying to get identification quickly, but... Ooh. Damage to the main tower. That's going to come back to bite you when... That's more like a destroyed main tower. That's not damage to the main tower. I'm trying to just cross their T, providing as much firepower from my ship against their fleet as possible. I'm surprised we only got 10%. Nothing there. 6-inch opening up as well. 62%, 63. We're definitely going to need the 15-inch guns to do damage here, but considering this range, I might be able to use 6-inch high explosive and 15-inch armor piercing to blow a couple of sizable holes in that battlecruiser. If I can hit it, that is. 72%. What's the perspective from your ship? Something flinging very large metal objects towards your ship. Missed. Hit. Right through the bow. Flooding. One through the fore belt and one through the fore deck. Interesting. So we're right at that point where half the shells come in vertical, or vertical enough, and the other ones come in flat enough to hit the belt. Just, what is this accuracy? Shells here and there? At 10 clicks? That's pretty terrible. So far the Real has taken some damage, but not that bad. My plan is to try and get rid of the battleships ASAP, and then push my ship in and allow the 6-inchers to engage whatever they want. Starting with the larger cruisers. I can already engage one of the cruisers here. This is their heavy cruiser, believe it or not. And if I'm able to start burning it down, that would be great. Destroyed another main gun. Yep, on the Corvette. That ship is having a bad day. There we go. Ship's on fire. The Bregenz. Maximum bulkhead. Spacious quarters. Lots of crew. And the Richardis, the Austro-Hungarians are standing in for the Italian fleet, because I am the Italian fleet. They have taken some damage to their bows. Few bulkheads, means that the bows are flooded. And they seemingly cannot fix it. Chance to pen? 45%. That's pretty bad. Ricochet chance is average. Are you turning away? No, you're not. Pan chance here? 38. Ooh. Even worse. Fine, we'll just have to go right through you with high explosive. Got the Tirol, the Leoben, the Admiral Spawn. No light cruiser torpedoes. No heavy cruiser torpedoes. And no battleship torpedoes. Luck is on my side. We're gonna push in. What's your chance to pen me? Pretty terrible. And that's the battleship. That's the 10-inch guns. That's the biggest guns that they have available. These things are only packing 6s, so they're probably even worse. If they can even hit me at all. Which they can't. Brigands? Can't. Too far away. Perfect. Let's turn this ship around. Destroyed the main tower. That's going to come at a lot of costs to their damage control ability. So if I can burn it down, just set a couple of fires, they're not going to be very well capable of controlling those fires. Come on. Destroyed main tower again. 1 fire on the ship so far. Chance to pen? 35% only. These battleships might be old, but they're not going to go down that easily. I'm completely broadside to them, and yet the belt has plenty of armor, making it almost impenetrable. The bow and stern, not so much. Now I still have about an hour 10 left. But I am going to have to try and speed things up here, because the Richard is just taking a lot of time. Switch fire to the brigands. Main guns. I'm going to have to take out some of their heavy cruisers and just spend some time getting closer. 55? Wow. That's terrible. There we go. One of them did make it through, causing instant fire and a lot of flooding. The majority of their bow portions are on fire. Missed. 7 clicks out. Pen chance is still sub 50%. We will have to do better. That's more like it. Right through the bow, causing 4 incidents of flooding and more fire. A little bit of damage to the funnel, and the secondary tower has taken some damage. That's another good pen. Buoyancy seems to be dropping, and their ability to fix that with anti-flood 3, as well as a lot of bulkheads, could still prove that they can salvage some of these damaged compartments. Switch the 6-inch guns to the comets. Need to get rid of that. And I think the 6s, considering that the 15s are having trouble with the brigands, the 6-inch guns might be able to do more against the light cruisers. Brigands down to 10% buoyancy and dropping fast. Okay, we're going to slow down a bit. Hard starboard. And that ought to do it. Main guns on the Radetzky. Yep, there we go. Already flooding. Boom. Flooding. Damage to the bow. The other battleship, the Richard, is still heavily damaged. It's going to take a long amount of time to slow this ship down. Massive damage as a couple of shells clip the bows, immediately blowing off one gun. And seemingly hitting a part of the conning tower, I guess? Pen, fire. There we go. Comet's taking a serious amount of damage. We have diesels, yeah? Throw the ship in reverse. It's going to damage the engine, but I need to slow this thing down. There, that ought to do it. Now I'm down to 26 knots. Because an issue is that I might be outspeeding the fleet. And if I'm going slower, I'll also be able to target more accurately. Radetzky got a ricochet from that. Damn. Boom. That was not a ricochet. 28% buoyancy. In about an hour, we have to have all these ships down. Time is of the essence. Cannot let these guys warn the rest of the Romans. Well, not strictly the Romans, the Italians at large, but Rome in particular. That ship should be down. Boom. Done. Heavy flooding. Next up is the Tyrol. Because the Richardis is a bit too far back. I got so lucky with these Italian ships not having torps. If they had torps, I could not get this close and the battle would have been far more difficult. Looks like the Tyrol needs 1 or 2 more salvos. Switch to the Villach. This is just kicking puppies at this point. You kidding? The Tyrol has survived on 1%. And now she hasn't. Let's not have the Villach Ramas if we can. Because that would really ruin Real's day and cause a lot of damage. Far more than these guns can ever do. That is deadly. Look at this ship. Nothing left. Done. Next one. Have you targeted the Leoben by yourself? Yes, you have. Almost 3,000 damage. And this was the damage that was caused by 1 salvo. 3 engines out of commission. The entirety of the ship is flooding. I think we hit him right below the waterline. And because of that damage, the Leoben might not need a second salvo. So whereas it took about half an hour to sink the first ship, in a matter of 3 to 4 minutes after that, we have sunk 3 or 4 more. Let's pull a number on the Admiral spawn here. High explosive. Could be enough to immediately wipe it out. No, not quite. Many bulkheads. Pen chance? 95. Good. Ooh. Yeah. Pen. I think it lost due to extensive fire. Yep. Ship just burned immediately. Stem to stern. Nothing left. There we go. Pen. Destroyed the secondary tower. I'm not sure if that hampers their damage control ability even more, but it sure as hell won't help it. Structural down to 20% and the fires are raging out of control. Switch fire to the Graz. I'm still lobbing high explosive at these ships. I'm thinking that this ship's just going to burn down. I probably don't need to assist it any further. 3,668 damage against the Graz. Switch fire to the Richardis again. Secondaries in the Graz. 8%. Almost the entirety of the hull is gone. Impacts everywhere. The entire ship is blackened. Probably massive amounts of spalling damage as well. There goes the Graz. And the Richardis should sink not too far away from it. Gone. Okay, so that's their battleships and their heavy cruisers. And now it's just a matter of massacring their light cruisers. What are we targeting? The Comet. Poor thing. Hard to port. Buoyancy is done. Switch to Shamos, I suppose, because it's the next... No, you're switching your guns to port. We got the Bosna and Trabant. I wonder what armor piercing can do against these things. Probably not going to be pretty. 76%. 1600 damage from a mere 2 impacts. But immediately the whole ship starts flooding. 60%, 50%, 30% done? Or are you? No, you're not quite done. Put the 6-inchers to work against the Bosna. That was just one full salvo. 12 minutes, and then I still got 30 minutes to spare. Should be fine. Oh, you're going out with a bang, are you? Bosna is down. Antereal takes out the Shamos, and that is the battle done. Extremely, extremely lethal battlecruiser. Barely struggled at all. Well, no. Let me rephrase that. There was no struggle. The ship just completely destroyed any resistance. So that should mean that the mission is able to continue. We can drop off the 300 Spartans and try to capture Mussolini and hopefully end the war. But it'll be up to Anzac A1 to see how that battle is going to go. I hope you guys enjoyed the scenario. Let me know what your thoughts are on his backstory, because I really enjoyed it, but your opinions might be different. And I hope to see you guys soon for more videos. See you then.